Hey guys, OgreBarberian here, and I just wanted to go over a deck build and tactics for one that I really like using. This is one I've been working on for a while now, and as every time I rank up, I fit new cards in or try to fit new cards in. Um, but this one seems to be working for me fairly well. I picked up Tezzeret when I got to 600 because he's one of my favorite walkers in the lore for Magic, so had to try it out. I also noticed that the blue and the black uh, cards are fairly strong. They're not super strong. Like, I know I hear a lot of other players complaining that the black cards got nerfed pretty heavily at global launch, but I still think they're pretty strong. This is the deck that I've been using lately, and uh, I'm going to kind of go over it real quick, and then we'll take it into battle. The Haunted Guardian is your main tank. You know, he's got good HP, got a quick deploy time, 1 second. He's kind of slow and moves along the ground. Has a decent damage per second with 143. So he does all right. And he's common, so he's easy enough to rank up. Um, and damage per second on the Hedron Scouts is pretty good at 154.7 because they have a little bit higher attack speed. There's 3 of them. They move fairly fast, so you want to deploy them quite a bit behind or once the Haunted Guardian has already engaged the tower's defenses, the Guardian's defenses, rather. Crossing too many games here. Then you have the Enclave Elite. They're just some air defense because you got to have some sort of air defense, otherwise you're gonna get owned by some of these air units. And same thing for the Accursed Spirit, just more air defense. They're both 2 mana, so they're both fairly cheap to deploy, and they're fairly effective at what they do. Then you have the Icefall Dragon, who is really there as your control. And then you also have your Bloodline Keeper. He's more air, and they're both flying units, which makes them a little bit harder to target, so they can get, in on opponents that don't have access to things that can stop them. And then you have Wargate, and I'll be honest, I don't use it very often. Could probably change it out for something else. But it is nice to have just in case I need it. So the idea of the deck, again, is you want to deploy the 4 ranged units, the Bloodline Keeper, the Icefall Dragon, the Accursed Spirit, and the Enclave Elite. You want to deploy them behind your Guardian when your opponent's pushing on you, so that you can defend it. And then once you've started to clear them out, you drop your Haunted Guardian up towards the front of your line so that it can start moving towards the enemy tower. And by the time everybody else is caught up, he's got the enemy tower focused on him, and that way they can all start shooting at the enemy tower. So let's go ahead and see if we can get some good battles in and show you this deck in action. As you noticed, it was a 2.9 converted mana cost average. So I personally like to play the lower to the ground, more aggressive decks that have that 2.4 to 2.9. 3.0 I think is like the highest one I like personally doing. I like those lower to the ground decks. We got another Tezzeret. Alright, let's see if we can put into practice some of these principles that I was just saying. So, and generally, I like letting my opponent make the first move. So, alright, so there's Dragon. Alright. So I'm going to drop the Haunted Guardian over here, try and draw the Tezzeret over. I'm going to use my Tezzeret. I'm going to use his pull to catch the dragon. Alright, so now we've got multiple dragons. And I'm trying to push my Tezzeret in. I want to save his minion for when I get close enough. I want it to hit the tower. Doesn't always happen, but, you know, I like to get it to do that if it can, because it definitely can do a lot of damage. Alright. So we're doing okay right now. We're not doing great. It's rough fighting a deck that's very, very similar to yours. And there's their tower, so hopefully we can keep them off of me. Notice I'm placing all my minions down there on the ground to try and clear out that ninja as quick as I could, because I do not want it, you know, taking my tower. Alright, so we got a win. Wasn't pretty, but we got it. Oh, well, I guess it was pretty. We got their main tower there at the end there. Alright, not bad. Alright, let's see what we can get here. And I'm not, you know, I'm not super high. I just wanted to show off the deck a little bit. What do we got? Cool. Alright. Oh, let's check what we're supposed to do here. And this is something you definitely want to make sure of, is you want to look at your, you know, quests every day. Do I want to reset it? Summon uncommon cards for 4 spark. Is that something I want to reset? Do I want to try and get something a little bit higher? Yeah, I think I do. So, summon creature cards. That's fine. Use green mana. Okay. So, when it says to use green mana, it actually wants me to use, like, actual green mana. You know? You can't use a green deck and then summon an artifact. It won't count it. So, luckily, this deck is also... I mean, this is... Okay, so remember how I said I didn't like things that were over 3 mana? That's when I have something that's not Nissa. Nissa makes mana. Birds of Paradise also make mana. So this deck is a little bit heavier, but it can support it because both of those cards generate mana periodically. So I'm basically playing at the same level as if I was a cheaper deck in a different color combination. So, alright, we got a Dovin. Nice. This should be nice and difficult. I think this is the last battle we're going to do, because I don't want to go too far and too many into these. 2 battles is probably enough. Alright, got lucky on that. They dropped their... So notice I'm deploying my ranged units behind the Guardian, behind the Baloth. Probably losing my tower. Yep, did. Alright, but I've got my Baloth going now. And I've got a really, really, really strong push here, so I'm going to just keep flooding stuff in, and I'm going to, you know, hopefully drop theirs really quickly. But nope, no such luck. So... This is going bad. But sometimes to complete quests you have to lose. Don't be afraid to lose, like it's fine in the end, like alright, and there I used the defensive building, the hornet's nest, to try and distract the Dovin, which seemed to work, so I'll try and do that again. Except that we're going to have to use something else because they're starting to summon things, and that's not good. Summoning things is bad, and there goes my tower. So you do have to pay attention because of the fact that you can summon units on top of the Planeswalker, sometimes you can't just leave them alone like that. And that was my mistake, so... So yeah, don't be afraid to lose a battle just to complete a mission, because you get a bunch of spark for completing the mission. So, like, don't be afraid. And not only that, but you can, gain back your ranks pretty quickly with a win. Like, you don't lose quite as much as you gain. So don't be afraid to lose, is basically the short end of it. Don't get frustrated. Don't be afraid. Experiment. Have fun. That's the main point. But try this out. Let me know what you think. As always, enjoy and grind on.